Yeah, so if you want a used car, message the Hatchet Man.
He'll sort you out.
This is what Dennis can do, though. He can reel racks off super quick, very talented, left-handed player. 1-0.
Thank you.
I have a feeling this match isn't going to take long. Both these players are fast. And some outside matches right now. Cheng Che Liu up 10-7 over Matusz Snegatsky. Now, that is a loser's side match, so if Cheng can hold on, he will go on to the next round. Wang Kan 6-3 up over Wojciech Szewczak of Poland. Jeffrey Ignacio 7-5 over James Aranis in an all-Filipino battle.
So, Dennis Hatch, break and run in the first rack. Can he keep SVB in his chair? And it's another powerful break. Is this one, Ted? One ball looks like it's going to be setting up. Is it a combo? I think it is, you know.
Well, Dennis Hatch with that crowd-pleasing style just gets up and whacks him. Doesn't take too long on these shots either. He's got a very fiery personality out here, which the fans always like.
Yeah, key shot here is just try and get this one ball tracking towards this corner pocket as a setup. He needs this to slow down. That's pretty good, you know. In fact, that's perfect. So 3 ball is over on the left side. So as long as he gets on this 3 ball, he's not got a bad chance. 3 ball is near the top jaw, so might cause some kind of little problem, but we'll see. Just bounced a little bit too hard, hasn't it? Yeah, that jaw was always coming into play, and the previous shot he'd have liked to have been exactly on the rail, I think. So now that jaw was always coming into play with a little test, and the previous shot he'd have liked to have been exactly on the rail, I think. So now that jaw was always coming into play with a little test. He's forgot about the cue ball, Ted.
He certainly did, and he is very upset with himself, and rightly so. He was cruising along. That was a nice pot, but he scratched, and now that's ball in hand for the 5-time U.S. Open champion.
Yeah, the Hatchet Man needs to cut them little errors out. He knows better than anybody that, you know, he won't need to be told. But he won't be scared to beat Shane, you know. He's not that type of guy.
That's a good point, Carl. He's not scared to beat him. And I think there are plenty of players who are scared and find it difficult to raise their game to the level where they need to beat Shane Van Boening. He is an intimidating opponent. 5-time US Open champion. And there it is, the Mandalay Bay. We are here at the Convention Center of the Mandalay in Las Vegas. Beautiful weather this time of year. So we're at 1 apiece.
Yes, and we get to see the highly skillful SVB breakoff. 1-1.
I really don't think anybody in the game practices the break shot more than Shane Van Boening. He's first to arrive at the practice table. He's the last to leave.
And that practice pays off time and time again. Very rare you see him hit a bad break off, you know.
It's a massive advantage in 9-ball. Once you master the break, you pretty much master the game.
So it's a thin one, but it's near the rail, so the pocketing of the ball's not the problem. He needs to get the cue ball in between that 4 and black 8, doesn't he, that gap? So pace is key, and that looks good. So there you see, you can get the cue ball all the way through that gap now for the red 3. Wow, early nerves from the 5-time champ. Now Dennis Hatch has to clear the table here and try and punish that mistake. That is a must.
Yeah, when we saw Dennis Hatch in his match against Earl Strickland, there was a slew of errors from both players. So certainly Dennis Hatch isn't going to get away with that this time. You can't expect Shane to make too many mistakes. So the hatchet man's going to have to step up his game.
Yeah, Dennis certainly comes to the bracket, under the bracket, I apologise. He comes under the bracket of a natural player, somebody who has got a good eye for the game. Kind of just sees the shot and sort of knows what shot to play kind of straight away. A bit like Joshua Filler, Jason Shaw, Carl Boys.
I was going to say Carl Boys. You're winding him up, Carl.
Yeah, I'm getting these Americans out. Dennis just looking at the crowd here, acting like Earl in that shot. Dennis sporting some very fancy shoes. Look at them dazzlers there.
Yeah, they're sparkling. So a nice job by Dennis Hatch, and that all came off that missed ball by Shane Van Boening. And that's what you got to do. You must pounce on the mistakes.
Outside table action, the battle of the Filipinos. Ignacio leads Aranas 7-6.
Shinagotsky has come back. He trails 9-10 to Cheng Che Liu. And Wang Kan 7-4 over Wojciech Szewczak. And there you see the route of Shane Van Boening.
Yeah, that's quite a tricky little section, that, to be fair. Sometimes you cop for what would perceive to be an easier route on paper, but Shane's not had it easy, but he's played flawless up to now. Be interesting to see what the head-to-head is like between these two. Obviously, we know Shane's won many tournaments, but I'm just intrigued. If anybody knows, like, rough head-to-head between these two, I'd love to hear.
Oh, he's really got the break shot working.
So this 2-ball does cut to right centre, and to be fair, if he gets on the 3, you'd have to say it could be rack over. Needs the 3. He needs to miss the 3, and he has done. That's perfect. Well played. Slightly hampered, but he's close to his work, so shouldn't cause too many issues. Just pot your ball, and he has done. You can see Dennis Hatch has got that kind of confident arrogance around the table, and that's what you need when you're playing in the pit.
Well, he can hit them hard. He can. He's got a good soft touch. He plays fast. He's a lot of fun to watch when he's on. And this could get interesting. This for a very quick 3-1 lead over Shane Van Boening. And don't forget, this is a winner side match, so the loser will get another chance right after this.
Ted, can you just flick to the draw and see where the loser of this match lands?
The loser of this match will play the winner of Joshua Filler and Petri Mäkinen. I believe. Oh, no. Nope, they don't have it listed yet. But regardless, the winner qualifies for the final 16, and the loser will get another chance.
The loser will play either James Aranas or Jeffrey Ignacio. So this is a big, big match, because
There you go.
You don't want to be going into the loser's qualification playing one of them two, do you? So there's extra added pressure on this match. The hatchet man is absolutely crunching the brake. I must say, Ted, I've said it before, but I'm going to say it again. I love this break rule. If you hit a good break shot and just get that cue ball exactly in a parallel line across the 1 ball, you do seem to get rewarded.
All right, well, next time they rack the balls, maybe we can do a little more analysis on what you're talking about. Oh, he nudged the 3 ball out of the way. That ball was available. Now it is not.
When we get to the final 16, we could do some real good break analysis, because we'll have the telestrator, so I can stick some lines up for you pool fans.
Wow.
The hatchet
The
man
telestrator
has made a mess of that one, hasn't he? So a couple of racks. You know,
Yeah.
he could be 4-0 up, possibly 5-0 up. He's had chances in all the racks. So Shane, feeling the tension, he's overdrawn that a long way. As you can see, he's right near the pocket and he's super straight on this. Straight on this shot is not the end of the world because of where the 5 is, but if he doesn't get far enough down table, how's he going to get on the 6? So he's either going to play a stun run through, will he risk drawing it back a few inches to play the 5 in left corner? Yeah, he's played that well. He's pinched a bit of the pocket, but he might have to play a 6-7 combination. Well, I'll tell you what a shot he's played there. He had more angle than I first thought, and he powered that one in, didn't he? So it's going to be 3-2 Hatch with another mistake. You're not going to keep getting away with mistakes, Dennis. But he knows that as good as anybody.
And he looks like he's prepared to sit there a while. So Shane Van Boening gets one back. It's 3-2. A poor effort on the safety on the 3 ball by Dennis Hatch leads to the clear by Shane Van Boening. 3-2. Updates on our outside tables. Cheng Che Lu has defeated Matusz Śniegocki. Śniegocki is out. Cheng now moves on to a qualification match with Imran Majid. Wang Can up 7-5 over Wojciech Szewczak. Jeffrey Ignacio 9, James Aranis 6. So tell us what he is doing, Carl. You said he's got the special break shot down.
Yeah, when the 9 ball's on the spot and you're using the Accurac, if you break head on, the wing ball will not go in. So the wing ball in this instance is the blue 2. The wing ball only goes in if you play this with loads of spin, but Shane's not trying that break. What Shane's doing is he's playing it a lot fuller with a little spin and making the 1 in the side. But the actual aiming point of the 1, the cue ball has to come more or less in a parallel line where that middle diamond is. If it goes low or high, the 1 ball doesn't seem to go in. So it's a skillful break. There's no manipulating the rack, cheating the rack, racking the balls how you want. There's no 1 ball on the spot to make it an easy break. This is a skillful break, Ted.
Well, good analysis from Box Office Boys. Certainly, that's not going to wind up your American fans, is it?
I'll find something to wind them up, though, Ted.
I was going to say, it seems like anything you do, you wind them up. That's all in good fun. And Shane is going to make Dennis Hatch pay for that mistake in the last rack. One mistake can often cost you several racks, especially when you're up against one of the greatest of all time in Shane Van Boening.
So Dennis, would he have took 3-3 after 6 racks? You would probably say yes, so just got to stay positive.
We are tied at 3. Race to 11. The winner qualifies for the final 16. The loser gets one more chance right after this.
There they are. $2,000 them shoes, Ted.
The Dazzlers.
Well, I'm sure if Dennis does lose this match, and then he loses his losers qualifier, he might go and do the tango in them shoes.
I wonder if he wears those when he's pitching cars.
Yeah, that'll seal the deal. So, the SVB break.
Let's watch it again.
Interesting how he swaps sides so often, because the last break, I'm sure he broke from where he was sat and he made the one ball.
He's changed sides.
Yeah, but why? Because he can't check the rack. So I'm going to ask him that. That's an interesting little thing to find out. Live from the Mandalay Bay Convention Center here in Las Vegas. SVB breaks. And as many times we always seem to see, he has a shot on the lowest ball. Cue ball gets kicked, comes round, avoids a couple of balls, and this is a good opportunity. He's going to be playing this, you would think, so his next shot, he'll just go through the gap of the pink 4 and the brown 7, just drawing the cue ball back a little bit, like so. Both players would love to just win this match and have no more pressure in the losers qualification match. That goes without saying.
This all goes back to when it was 3-1 and Hatch had an open table, but he nudged that 3 ball, then played safe. It was a poor save and allowed Shane to come at the table, clear the colors, and since then Dennis Hatch has been relegated to that nice comfortable leather chair. This will be 3 on the trot for SVB. 4-3, motoring along. In stroke. And with his eye on the final 16, where it becomes single elimination, knockout, all the way to the U.S. Open title and the Barry Berman Trophy.
What a trophy that is, Ted.
Yes, it's been renamed the Barry Berman Trophy after the late promoter who started this event over 40 years ago. his children, Brady and Shannon, are here, and you can just see how proud they are to see the event that their father started and nurtured and held all those years morph into something that really is going to be a global event.
And again, the SVB break-off works out lovely.
Jeffrey Ignacio on the hill, 10-7 now over James Aranis. So if Jeffrey Ignacio goes on to win, he will have one more match to try to make it into the final 16. This is a clinical display of 9-ball from Shane Van Boening, 5 times US Open champion. If he wins one more, he will become the all-time leader at the US Open, surpassing Earl Strickland.
Yeah, he's run the cue ball on a little bit further than he would like, so he's going to be topping this ball with right hand spin, coming down back towards the left hand side of the table. So that's good from Shane. It's looking like a 2-rack lead.
Right out of a textbook. And it's Professor Van Boening teaching this class.
Thank you.
From 3-1 down, now up 5-3 in a matter of minutes. And as Carl said, it's really this masterful break shot that sets it all up.
Yeah, I mean, of course, you can't guarantee where the balls are going to land or where the cue ball's going to finish up if it gets kissed. All you can do is hit a good, solid break, and the rest is out of your hands.
There you see the Mandalay Bay Convention Center. From one end to the other, 33 tables in action here.
So Dennis Hatch watches on, just hoping he gets back to the table. You know, he needs to get back to the table soon and all. It's no good if Shane runs a 3 or 4 pack from here, because, you know, if he runs 3 from here, he'll be 8-3 up, and then that's a healthy lead. You don't see many comebacks like Aranis, and there you see Ted. I know he's made balls, but the 1 ball was nowhere near the side, and that's because he didn't cut the break enough. Watch the cue ball here. See, it just comes straight back. 1 ball, nowhere near the side. So he's fortunate to have any kind of shot here. And if he pots the 1 ball, he's going to be on the 2 ball, so this is a big shot.
Isn't that a lovely shot? What a touch. Straight down the rail. And away he goes yet again.
Yeah, this is what Shane does. He does it time and time again.
There's nothing he can do. Shane is in total control.
SVB is a package machine. He runs packs for fun more than anybody else in the game.
He loves it. The winter breaks format is his territory. Nicely done on that 9-ball.
Thank you.
6-3 in favor of Shane Van Boening. That's 5 straight racks in which, well, that's 4 that Dennis hasn't gotten out of his chair. The first rack that in this package that Shane won, he won because Dennis played a poor safe and left it open. And that just shows how tight your game has to be when you go up against the great Shane Van Boening.
Pool fans, after the losers qualification round, when we've got our final 16 set, myself and Ted and Nick Teal will be doing Off the Rail, so stay tuned for that. That will be going out on the Facebook page, US Open 9-ball, so stay tuned for our show Off the Rail.
We're going off the rail, Boise, literally. So Shane Van Boening moves over to this side of the table. Interesting, he just keeps changing it up. There, the 1 ball goes right in.
The only thing I can think of why he's switching it up is because he's looking at where the balls are. So you see where the 2-ball was, it was on the left side of the rack. That's the only thing I can think he's doing.
That's what I was thinking, because you're not allowed to check the rack. That has been banned. You have to stay at your end of the table. So he's looking for any edge that he can find to try to not only make a ball, but of course he's got to get the shot after the break on the object ball.
It was thin and he's missed it by a long way. Dennis Hatch is back at the table, just 3 racks behind. Trick shots from the hatchet man, but it's not paid off. I think he's hooked on this 4-ball. So he's going to kick at this 4 ball and try and pocket it in the top right pocket. He's got to be careful of a scratch. This isn't going to work. SVB is back at the table.
And it could be a while before Dennis gets back up with another chance.
Extension called.
So Shane uses his 1 extension per game. Not a nice shot. Wow. Reverse cut and then brings it all the way across table, down table. Position for the 5 ball. He is looking unstoppable. Shane Van Boening now 7-3 and motoring along, looking like nothing will get in his way on the road to the final 16.
James Aranas pulls another rack back. He was 10-6 behind. We've already seen him do 1 comeback. Can the comeback king do it again? Now we have started losers qualification rounds, Ted. Shout him out, buddy.
Joshua Filler 2-1 up on Petri Mäkinen. The winner goes through. Kopinyi 1-0 on Aloysius Yap. And Lou Haitao also 1-0 on Marco Tucher.
The fans have come out tonight for Judgment Day, and we will know our final 16, I would suspect, in 1.5 hours. So pool fans, we will know the draw for the final 16. SVB makes the 1 ball, but he's no shot on the lowest ball. Straight away tries to lock him up behind the 3, and lock him up he does. Ted, Shane, time and time again, match after match, so consistent, isn't he? I mean, Jason, phenomenal player, but he had a little wobble in the last match, didn't he? Shane just seems to have this, I don't know, time and time again, so consistent at just...
Well, that's what happens when you're the hardest working player in the game. I don't think anybody trains harder than Shane Van Boening. Longer hours. No, he's always the first to arrive at the pool hall, last to leave.
I mean, obviously Shane is American, born over here, he was brought up playing this game. This is the Q Sport game. It's the only Q Sport game in America. Jason Shaw from Scotland as a kid played English 8 ball, so He had a much later start than Shane, so who knows if Jason was born in America, would he be 5-time US Open 9-ball champion?
That would be fascinating to see them in a final. Shane, the 5-time champion, the American, going after the title here of the American game of pool against Scotland's Jason Shaw, who's the defending champion. Be a great storyline. Wow. So the hatchet man gets back at the table, but to no avail. Shane Van Boening yet again. 8-3 now. The winning line is in sight for SVB.
Yeah, Dennis just sitting there waiting, praying he gets some kind of visit. There you see the current world 9-ball champion, Joshua Phillips. Has anybody done the US Open World 9-ball Championship double?
I'd have to look that up.
You would think no.
That would be a tough one. I have not heard of that, but I can't be 100% sure. So we'll have to have our statisticians, our crack statisticians, look that up.
I would hazard a guess at no. Certainly in the modern era, I don't think it's been done. SVB, regular sign, 1 ball disappears, centre pocket. And he's got a shot at this 3-ball, and this would probably be played in the corner, and it is, and it's gone. So good news for Shane is this 5-ball is in a position where he can play it into the top left and drop in behind the green 6 and play the green 6 all the way down table. Failing that, there is a possible 6-7 combination. So will SVB try and drop him behind this 6? That's the shot he's played. You can tell with the speed. And yet again, he is perfect. Dennis Hatch got off to such a good start in this match, didn't he, Ted? Looked like he was going to put up a real big fight.
Well, there was really one mistake at 3-1 that cost him the match, and that's just how superior a player Shane Van Boening is. This is as good a master class as Jason Shaw put on last night against Corey Deuel. In some ways, this seems even better.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say Shane's done this kind of thing in every match, hasn't he, Ted? He's not had a... Nobody seems to have rattled him. On the outside table for Tunskid, that was quite close. But he's so different playing on the outside table. You've got guys in this tournament who play better out of the way on the outside, and then you've got guys who need to be centre court with the crowd, and some guys on the outside can't handle centre court.
Shane Van Boening thrives in this environment. He's from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and a very successful pool player, not just in terms of titles, but in terms of the money he has won and generated from sponsorships. And he has made a very, very good living playing pool. And he is one of the few Americans who travel outside of the borders of the United States to play in tournaments all over the world. And it's a great lifestyle. Shane loves it. And I was talking to him the other night at dinner, and he often wonders like why other Americans don't join him and hit the road overseas. A few do occasionally. Skylar Woodward has, Billy Thorpe on occasion, but not to the extent that Shane does. So there is a ball down, and he will be shooting at the 1. Looks like the 1-8 is lined up.
Yes, Ted, I do believe it is, and I was looking at Dennis Hatch, and he wasn't happy at all. He's just not really had a go, has he? That's the reality.
It's not a great shot. He not only does he hit the combination, he gets a nice angle, open shot on the 1.
Seconds.
So does the 2 ball pass the 6, or does he have to play a combo? It's tight if it does go. So it was a combo, and it was a well-judged combo.
Wow, what a nice touch that is. He's really got it all, doesn't he, Carl? There's any weaknesses you could find in his game?
No, I don't think there actually is, to be fair. Plays combos and caroms extremely well. Banks the ball good. His positional play, cue ball, fantastic. We all know what his break's like. He's got a lot of heart. Loves playing in the centre court arena of pool, so yeah, it's certainly hard to find a weakness, to be fair.
You are watching a master at the height of his craft. Shane Van Boening leading 10-3. One more rack and he will be in the final 16, where it becomes single elimination, and that all starts tomorrow. There you see Joshua Filler, the world champion from Germany, 4-1 up on Petri Makinen. So the winner there moves through to the final 16. Aloysius Yap up 2-1 on Ko Pin Yi. Those are also qualification matches. Lu Haitao 3-0 up on Marco Teucher. And Ko Ping Chung, the younger brother of Ko Pin Yi, 3-0 up on Tyler Steyer.
Yeah, and Jeffrey Ignacio won that match, so don't forget, folks, the loser of this TV table will be playing Ignacio to qualify. So it's not all doom and gloom for Dennis Hatch. He will have his second life, so he can still qualify.
So the 2 ball went down. He's seems to have a look at the 1 ball.
Tries to play safe, double kisses the 1, and the 1 ball goes safe.
And Hatch is probably going, what is going on here? Even when he double kisses, it ends up safe.
And this isn't going to work, is it? Because the 1 ball's coming back down table. Will he get lucky? Well, he's got a bit of luck.
He got him back, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm not sure what he said. He said something funny. The crowd laughed. Now Shane has got a chance of potting the 9 ball here. He's going to go up towards top left-hand pocket with left-hand spin.
Oh, this would be good.
And come all the way back down. If he hits this 1, this is going to go close, this, folks. He will not be a million miles away with this shot.
He very nearly made it, but he fouled. So now Dennis gets ball in hand.
Yep, there you see, just missed the 1 ball. Any newbies watching, any novices, on a foul, you get ball in hand, place it anywhere on the table. And the nightmare gets worse for Dennis Hatch. 10-3 down. Not really had many visits, has he, to be fair. And he gets a miscue. I think it's important now for Dennis to regroup. Go and wash your face. Get some cold water on it. And get yourself up for that losers or left side of the draw qualification round. You can still do this, Dennis. I'd sure like to see him in the last 16. Big character for our game.
You've had your run-ins with him, haven't you? The Mosconi Cup?
Yeah, we've even ended up rolling on the floor, Ted. I won't lie. We've done it all, me and Dennis. Could write a book. on what we've got up to? Maybe you're the man to write it, Ted.
Could be. Could be a huge seller. So when you talk to Dennis now, I'm sure that's all been forgotten, right?
Yeah, we're good. It's all fun and games, isn't it? After a few shickers. Anything's possible. Don't launch your cue, Dennis. You've got another match, pal. So, the 5-time US Open champion, many people's favourite, will book his place in the final 16 if he converts these 3 balls. Of course, we don't know who plays yet in the final 16. Once all matches are finished, there will be a redraw. The 8 winners will play the 8 losers.
So there it is. The 9-ball goes down, and Shane Van Boening, what a marvelous performance. He wins 11-3. He qualifies for the final 16 tomorrow, the knockout stage. Jason Shaw is in there, and as a few others already. We're going to get to that point very soon in the next hour or so where we will know the makeup of the final 16. But right now, a big tip of the hat for a fine performance from one of the greats of the game, Shane Van Boening.
The last 16 of the US Open 9-ball championship starting to take place. Here are the results on table 1 for today. Tyler Steyer beat Justin Bergman. Albanushin beat Darren Appleton. James Aranas, what a match that was. 11-10 against Torsten Homan. Jason Shaw, toughest match so far for him in the tournament. 11-8 against Petri Mäkinen. And we've just seen Shane Van Boening, despite a slow start, beat Dennis Hatch comfortably in the end, 11-3. And Shane's in the studio to speak to us now. Congratulations, Shane. You've gone through without losing any matches, but that one was actually quite a tough start for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, you know, he breaking well, so that's what I was worried about. And then he, you know, missed a shot and gave me an opportunity to string that together.
And yesterday you said that you were close to being on top form. Are you now on top form at exactly the right time?
I feel like I need to work on a little bit of things, and the most important shot is the break. So that'll be the shot I'll be working on for the next couple of days.
Is it a relief to not have had to rely on the double elimination? You've done it without any defeats, which of course must be, you don't have the pressure of knowing that one defeat and you're out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm only a couple of shots, a couple of matches away from winning the trophy, so I'm just happy to be in the final 16, especially with, you know, the strong field with players from all over the world. It's probably the toughest tournament you can play in.
And only one table from now on for you, and the crowd all focused on one match. What are you expecting the atmosphere to be like for the rest of the tournament? Because it's been electric already. It's going to be even better.
If I can just stay focused like I did on my last match and the previous matches that I did, I shouldn't have any problems.
Yeah. Well, Shane, well done. Good luck tomorrow as well. We'll see you in the morning. Right, we're going to go to one of the outside tables before we wait for the table 1 match. Joshua Filler is in action against Petri Mäkinen, who we saw
Just looking elsewhere, Francisco Sanchez Ruiz of Spain, 4-2 up against Ko Pin Yi. He's making good progress. Alex Pagulayan, your compatriot, Jim, 4-2 up against Ko Ping Chung. And on the losers' side, big match going on there. The world champion Joshua Filler, 5-3. He leads Albanushin. That's a real heavyweight clash.
They're all heavyweight clashes now. You get to this stage in an event like this US Open, and there's no more weak links.
That's true, and I think Shaw's first match actually typified a lot of what we saw in the early stages. His opponent, Marcus Weston, looked a little bit overawed by the occasion. He looked very nervous before the match started, and he ended up being beaten by Shaw by 11 racks to 0. Shaw's come through 3 more rounds since then, but it's Petri Mäkinen who's going to start us off.
Well, he's been paying attention, because on this main table, that's the spot that you break from and enjoy the most success.
Absolutely. We've seen players experimenting with going the other side, and they've persevered with it, even though, as you say, it hasn't generally proved to be the side to break from. So Mäkinen appears to have done his homework. Has he got a shape on this too, though, Jim?
Definitely can see it. I don't know whether it passes the 7 into the bottom corner pocket. Don't have that angle to be able to tell.
Not a huge amount of room. The cue ball, though, would naturally be travelling towards the 3, so if he can pot it, it's a chance.
Yeah, and he's obviously got the option of being able to lay behind the colors and play a good aggressive safety from this position too. Well, looks like he's queuing up as though this might pass. Kind of not too sure what exactly he was trying there.
Yeah, it's hard to know, but whatever it was, hasn't worked out for him at all. He's left the 2 on, but real work to do to get on the 3 from here, Jim.
Mission impossible. I mean, he might try and force follow this cushion first.
No way he can draw back, queuing from so close to the cushion. In the end, did he even attempt that?
Well, that was a bit of a mishit as well. Wasn't too sure what Petri was trying, and nor was it with Jason. But either way, I don't think he's left Petri Mäkinen a chance either, unless he's got the right angle here. It doesn't look like he does. Well, there you're getting a little example of that cue power that I alluded to. But that's a great effort from what looked like a very tall order.
He spoke about his cue power. He's a big guy, but of course you don't necessarily need to be physically big to have cue power. It's all about timing. You think of some of the greatest cue power exponents in snooker: Jimmy White, Judd Trump, thin chaps.
One thing about it, Petri would acknowledge, he's far from the favorite in this match, but if he can grab these early racks, he's going to put his opponent under some heat.
Yeah, and that's particularly important against Jason Shaw, because we've seen it repeatedly in earlier rounds that he's got off to a really good start in matches and just pulled away from there. So against Shaw, as much as anyone, you've got to get off to a good start if you're the underdog.
Now, if Petri left this angle on purpose, he's just having a look. Just got to be a little careful with this 6.
Yeah.
He certainly had to have tried to get a bit closer to the 6, a little straighter.
Extension called.
Well, this is the big shot here.
Yeah, and that's usually when you see the extension being called, when it looks to have the potential to be the decisive shot in a rack.
Good shot on the 6, but it may not have availed unless the 7 passes to the top corner pocket.
That's so tight, isn't it? But there may just be a gap. He's having to have quite a few looks.
That 7 has to reach the cushion. It just got there.
And now that it has, that's a pretty good outcome.
Petri is living in Mika Iminen's shadow for so many years. And what a coming out party it would be if he ever grabbed this title.
Well, he's got a good chance of grabbing this rack now.
Oh, shot.
On his resume, the biggest jewel in his crown was when he partnered Mika to the World Cup of Pool Championship.
Yeah, and they put up a good defense of the title the following year, actually. They reached the semi-finals. It's only 2 matches away from successfully defending it. It's not a country that's had massive international success in sport generally. So it was big news in Finland when they won that.
Well, he's going to secure this rack, and that'll lose confidence the world of good. Be able to take a deep breath and settle in.
So he left Jason Shaw hooked on the 7. That was what forced the chance. Mackinnon has taken the last 3 balls. He's taken the opening rack. We said it was important for him to get off to a good start, not let Jason Shaw build up an early head of steam. And Mackinnon leads 1-0.
Well, there were a couple anxious moments for Mackinnon in that first rack. A little out of position a few times, but he potted himself back into winning position.
Alex Pagulayan, your fellow Canadian, Jim, now 6-2 up against Ko Ping Chung. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz involved in a real battle with Ko Pin Yi, and the Spanish player now leads 4-3 in that one. And over on the losers' side, what a battle that is. Joshua Filler 5-4 now. He leads Alban Ushan. And Niels Fayen 6-2 up against Alucius Atyap of Turkey. Tyler Steyer, sorry, Singapore. I think I said Turkey there. And Tyler Steyer, Mosconi Cup player, leading 5-2 against Roman Heibler.
You'll see a lot of people when we shift over to the Diamond Arena tomorrow. There'll be seating for a few hundred over there.
Yeah, by all accounts, ticket sales have been good, so what an atmosphere we're going to have. Decent turnout here, though, this afternoon. They're spread out, obviously, around a number of tables.
That was actually quite funny. Mackinnon had grabbed his playing cue and started to come to the table, and then realized he was snookered and just turned right around and grabbed his jump cue.
Just as he did in the first rack, he's potted 2 balls off the break. But got to back it up now.
Well, it's not all happy stories. Great shot on the 1 and worth another look. But that cue ball weaved its way around the table to leave him with yet another snooker, and this one again requiring the short cue.
Going to do himself a shoulder injury if he keeps having to use it. Well, he's put it back and called the extension.
Yeah, a little too far to jump. And still able to keep that cue ball on the table even if it did contact the 2. So looks like Petri is going to kick at this off 2 cushions. Hope to leave it safe.
Well, pretty much everything has gone wrong there. He's scratched, ball in hand, 2 right over the pocket. And easy enough to get from there to the 4.
Well, Jason, much like Mackinnon, wastes little time at the table. Exudes confidence. Get a chance, we'll try and show you that extension that he plays with and how long this cue is. His backhand is nowhere near the butt, but shots like that, the far end of the table, he reaches with ease.
So Mackinnon scratched on the 2. And he's paid full price for it. Jason Shaw opens his account. The defending champion draws level at 1 rack apiece.
Day 3 of the US Open. Moving day, effectively. This is when we're going to separate the men from the boys. And 16 will remain. Action on the outside tables.
Francisco Sanchez Ruiz has just won the 8th rack to lead Copigny 5-3.
You can see his brother, Ko-Ping Chung, trailing 6-2 to Pagulayan, but that's very shortly going to be 6-3. The younger brother of Copigny. Well, we saw how well Jason broke against Corey Deuel the last time he played on this table. Anything close to a repeat performance from him, and he'd probably sail through this match.
Well, it would be a lot to ask. As I was saying, that was quite close to perfection. It ended quite strangely, actually. Corey Deuel was at the table in the 12th rack and accidentally brushed the ball with his cue. And that was the end of that.
Well, he's got to miss the 8 here. If he tries to spin this cue ball around the angles, he's going to go behind the 8. Should go right around it if he spins it well enough. Not easy.
He made it look pretty easy. Mieszko Fortunski, who gave Shane Van Boening a good battle in an earlier round. Over on the loser's side, he's leading another big name, Ralph Souquet, by 5 racks to 4. Tyler Steyer has just stretched his lead to 6-2 over Roman Heibler.
Got that cue ball on a string. Play this down in the corner pocket. Have to play it with a bit of speed as well. Well, mark that one down. That's one of those very rare misses, an unforced error from Jason Shaw.
And now it's so important Mackinnon makes the most of that error. He's got to show Shaw that he's not just going to let him off the hook when he makes mistakes. And I think Mackinnon will be pleased enough with this start. To be leading by 2 racks to 1. Okay, it's a early stage of the match. The finish line is a long way away. But at the moment, all he's thinking about is not letting Shaw build up any early momentum. And from that point of view, things going to plan. Shaw missed the 6. Mackinnon capitalised to the full. He leads the defending champion 2 racks to 1.
Looks pretty settled and comfortable. I think it's fair to say.
Back to your compatriot, Jim. Although he's not at the table at the moment, of course.
Yeah, this is going to be a very tough match, this one. Wouldn't surprise me if, looking at a lot of the matches on those outside tables, if we see a few hill-hill.
Especially some of the matches going on the losers' side at the moment are really close. Joshua Filler and Alban Ocean is 5-all. Marco Teutcher only 6-5 up against Hu Dang Yin. And Fortunsky now leading Ralph Souquet 6-4. On this side, though, Jeffrey DeLuna involved in a close one against Liu Hai Tao. DeLuna leading 4-3 in that one. So far, so good for Petri Mackinnon. And his progress, you know, has been straightforward enough. He beat Marcel Price, the Welshman, 11-6. That's actually been his toughest match so far. Saw off Peter Bussarach for the loss of only 3 racks, and then a couple of 11-5 wins over Justin Bergman and Toru Kurabayashi.
Wow, 2 very big names there. 11-5, no mean feat, taking out Kurabayashi and Bergman by those score lines. Tricky shot here on the 2. Thin cut if he elects to get aggressive, or he can take the cue ball down and should be able to find cover behind those 3 near the bottom right corner. That would be my choice.
Psychologically, Jim, he's in the ideal situation, Mackinnon, because it's a match nobody expects him to win, and he knows if he loses, he's got another shot at it anyway on the loser's side of the draw. So, yeah, no reason at all not to be in a great frame of mind in terms of how he approaches this.
Long shot, ball in hand.
That's just how tough that snooker was, so electing to freeze the 6 up to the 9 and try to buy himself an extra insurance policy in this rack. I don't believe the 6 goes to the bottom left corner. But in pocketing this 5, if he leaves himself, or this 4, if he leaves himself the angle on the 5 to get right back where he was queuing, right back where he was standing, below the 9 and the 6, he'd be able to play a very good attacking safety. Well, unless there's not a 6-9 combination on offer to the side pocket.
Extension called.
Well, that's no surprise. He knows how important this shot can be, particularly if it gets it right. So taking the extra time.
I didn't really like where he left the cue ball after knocking that 4 down the cushion. Should have left himself in a better position. He had plenty of angle there. Should have been in a much better position to play a good attacking safety from an easier position than this.
Well, that's not what he had in mind.
Not an easy shot, but he's pretty happy to get back to the table. Beautiful. Very nicely played.
Yeah, he's so good at those shots where you're coming around a few cushions for position. He's such a high strike rate. And that kind of shot against Corey Jewell last night. So Jason Shaw has gone behind twice in this match, and he's levelled straight away both times. Shaw 2, Mackinnon 2.
Cheers.
Well, we saw perhaps the match of the tournament on this table a little earlier. James Aranis getting through against Torsten Homan. And the match of this round is perhaps the one we were looking at earlier, and that we're back looking at now. Alex Pagulayan, 6-5, he leads Ko Ping Chung. Blow for blow stuff, this.
6-2, he was in front not long ago.
Absolutely, and Ko Ping Chung has put together a great counter-attack and could well level here. Alban Ocean has just won the 11th rack to go 6-5 up on Joshua Filler. Niels Fire now leads Aloysius Yap, 7-4. And Fortunski, Mieszko Fortunski, one of 3 Polish players involved in that round on the loser's side. 7-4 up against the vastly experienced Ralph Suke. Su Kain Lun leads Wu Jiaxing 7-1, so may well be the first player through from this round on the winner's side.
Ball down on the break, and he's got a nice open look at the 1. You see that 6 ball finding its way to the corner pocket.
5 racks in, we haven't had a dry break yet. In fact, that's the first time that there haven't been 2 balls potted from the break.
This is useful. This 2 passes into the corner pocket too. And I think he's got a little angle to be able to get that cue ball over to the other side of the table.
Yeah, that's fine. And now he's really opened things up for himself. Jason Shaw is the only Scottish player ever to have played in the Mosconi Cup. A little surprising that we haven't seen more top players coming from Scotland when you consider the cue sports and indoor sports generally tradition that there is in Scotland.
Well, that was the pocket that gave him a little grief not long ago, and he almost missed the 7 there. Certainly wiped his feet before leaving the playing surface, did that one.
Yeah, it's not been straightforward, this. He's had to work for it. But it's his first break and run out of the match. And also his first lead of the match. 2 in a row for Jason Shaw. It's now 3-2.
Well, we haven't seen Alex play a shot on this table yet.
Francisco Sanchez Ruiz of Spain, 7-3 up against Ko Pin-Yi. Su Kain Lun leads Wu Jiaxing 8-1.
Get a chance to see Pagulayan play a shot on this table finally.
Six all in this. It was 6-all between Marco Teucher and Hu Dang-yin, but Teucher has just won the 13th rack there to claim the lead at 7-6. So Jason Shaw's just claimed the lead in this one. 3-2 in front as he starts us off in rack number 6. Two balls down again. And a shape on the 2.
Yeah, the angle a little steep to try and hold for position to the 3. Can he kill the cue ball here, or will he use that 5 on the left side to hold position?
Yeah, use the 5 as a stopper.
He's got every chance now, Michael, every chance to secure the rack.
Yeah, and this is threatening to turn into exactly what Mackinnon didn't want to see, which is Shaw building up some momentum. Once he gets it, he can just disappear out of sight. I mentioned his 11-0 win in the first round. Follow that with a 10-5 win against Tom Stavley. His closest match so far came against Hunter Lombardo. It was 11-7 in that one.
There's a mistake. Overran the intended position.
Yeah, and in the win which followed all those, Corey Jewell, 11-1. He made very few mistakes of any sort. He's made a couple in this match already. This is another one. Oh, well, when you can play recovery shots like that, what does it matter?
Looking at a bank here. Yeah, just when you thought it was safe to go back into the water. Magic. Courtesy of Jason Shaw.
Just like the last rack, it wasn't straightforward, it wasn't routine. He's faced a couple of difficulties along the way. Oh, and just when we were about to start dotting the I's and crossing the T's on that rack, he's gone and missed into that same pocket that he missed into earlier, Jim. And he rattled one in there as well that dropped, so he's having a few issues with that pocket. What a gift to Mäkinen. All that hard work Shaw had done. Particularly the shot on the 6. Well, that one wriggled as well, didn't it? But it's dropped in, and Petri Mäkinen will be delighted with this. He's keeping pace with Jason Shaw, and they're level at 3 racks each.
Anxious moments, though, for both players. Back out to the Ko-Ping Chung and Pagulayan encounter, and again we've seen Alex play one shot in this match. And a failed attempt at a cut one ball, and given that he was 6-2 in front, I'm gonna take a big chance and say he's never trailed in this match.
Well, we've already seen a fantastic fight back this afternoon. James Aranis coming from way behind to beat Torsten Homan. Could we be seeing another great recovery here? We'll update you on some other matches. Niels Fyen, 8-4 now. He leads Aloysius Yap. And Albin Ocean has given himself a little bit of breathing space against Joshua Filler. 7-5 now he leads. That would be a big story if Filler was to go out. Be an even bigger story if the defending champion was to be beaten here. And Mäkinen's given himself every chance. 3-all.
One more look at the break. Change sides. And equally successful. And a chance at the 1, but there's a problem on the table. And Petri is queuing right over it. At 6, 7, 9, down near the bottom right corner. 6 isn't available to the pocket it's closest to. Just got to get comfortable because he's reaching a long way to try and poke this one in.
When Mäkinen teamed up with Mika Immonen to win the 2012 World Cup of Pool for Finland in Manila, they did it the hard way. Only got through 8-6 in the first round against South Korea. And then they beat the top seeds Germany, Ralf Souquet and Torsten Homan, 8-4 in their next match. And when they then saw off the experienced Philippines duo of Francisco Bustamante and Efren Reyes, that was when people were starting to say, well, okay, maybe they could win this. Then they faced the American pair, Shane Van Boening and Rodney Morris, beat them as well, taking them into a final against Poland. And they won that in a close contest. So it really was an against the odds triumph.
Well, he's left that in as good a position to attack the combination as possible. Almost looks like a dead-on hit to the 6 to plant that 7 into the corner. Yeah, just trying to get a little too cute. That was always the danger area, though.
And that's going to be costly. So Jason Shaw gets his nose back in front. He's in a contest, though. It's 4-3 to the Scotsman. Alex Pagulayan was 6-2 up. He's now 7-6 down against Ko Ping Chung.
He'll battle.
He's the only Canadian player involved at this stage. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz, 2 racks away from being the first man through. He leads Ko Pin Yi 9-3. Su Kai Lun not far behind, leading 8-3 now against Wu Jiaxing. And Imran Majid, who, as I was saying, is the only British player left apart from Jason Shaw. And he's got a 5-3 lead over Chang Yulong. One of 5 players from Chinese Taipei still involved on the winner's side. And there's one on the loser's side as well.
Foul shot, ball in hand.
Well, it's not quite going according to plan for Jason Shaw in this match. Cue ball getting kicked straight into the side with ball in hand. And everything in the open. I think we'd have to expect Mackinnon to clear up from here.
Well, he's got to, hasn't he? I mean, if he passes up this chance, that's going to be a real setback to him. Shaw is making mistakes, but you do feel towards the end of the match he might not get this many chances gifted to him. So Mackinnon has got to capitalise on this. Alban Ocean has given himself a bit of room to breathe against Joshua Filler. He's pulling away. He's leading 8-5. So is Niels Fyan against Aloysius Yap.
Big shot will be from the 6 to the 7. Wants to ensure to leave himself the right angle to get the cue ball back down the bottom end of the table as we look.
He is perhaps best known for those performances in the World Cup with Finland. The year after they won it, they got to the semi-finals, lost to the Netherlands, who then lost the final to the Philippines. And the year after that, in Portsmouth, Finland reached the semi-finals again. But if he was to beat Jason Shaw here, then suddenly he might be very well known for something else. But he's left that awkward, Jim.
Yeah, too much mustard on that one. Jason grabs his cue and readies it, expecting to come to the table shortly.
Extension called.
Well, he's certainly contained Shaw. Jason looking at the long escape path, if for no other reason. Chance to make that 7 into the corner pocket.
Oh, needs a bit of luck here. And he's not had it. Got a very different demeanour about him now to what he had against Corey Jewell last night. He knows he's in a real contest here. So Mackinnon was given the chance when Shaw scratched from the break. He wasn't quite able to run out, but he got his way back in. By clearing from 7 to 9, Mackinnon draws level once again. It's now 4-all.
Yeah, kind of one of those matches that neither one of them is really taken by the scruff and run with it. Both very capable to still do that. Jason Shaw has just asked for a timeout, so he's leaving the arena. Probably just wash his face and try and freshen up a little bit.
Francisco Sanchez Ruiz on the hill, 10-3 up against Ko Pin Yi, who's hanging on here. Sanchez Ruiz has recently revealed himself as a bit of a Q Sports all-rounder because he entered the Gibraltar Open snooker, a full world ranking event, and had an extraordinary win over Martin O'Donnell, who's reached 3 big quarterfinals this season. And then he gave the former world champion, Ken Doherty, good friend of both of ours, Jim, a really good match in the next round. Was only beaten 4-2. Really raised a huge number of eyebrows with his performances there. Alban Ocean now 9-5 up against Joshua Filler. They're playing for the right, incidentally, to meet the loser of the match we're focusing on, Shaw and Mackinnon. So Ocean might be the first player through from the losers round. Tyler Steyer, though, also has a chance of doing that because he's now leading 9-3 against Roman Heibler. So Ko Pin Yi still hanging on. This is unexpected, what we're seeing from Jason Shaw, Jim.
Very much so. A little surprised that Petri didn't take the opportunity to leave the arena as well, and just go and keep yourself focused, clear your mind. Sitting here and waiting. I don't know if a more experienced player would be doing that. I mean, I think back to my snooker days, and usually when one player left the arena, the other was very closely following him.
Oh, listen, I've known players to hide around a corner behind a curtain waiting for the other player to go back into the arena before they do. I know exactly what you're getting at. Alex Pagulayan now 8-7 in front against Ko Ping Chung.
Well, finally poised here, 4-4.
Yeah, Mackinnon, I think, will be quietly delighted with the way this match has proceeded so far. But can he keep it up? Shaw's helping him along the way a bit. Well, he's got a shape on the one. And a decent enough angle to come back for the two. Oh, but you've got to pot the one.
Oh, is that cue ball married itself to the 8 and taken the path to the 1 away?
It's certainly very close to that, at least.
No, Jason looks like he's queuing up. Must be able to see it. And that was a much better shot than it looked.
Well, absolutely. Coming in and out of the jaws like that, you're never entirely sure what the cue ball's going to do. But you couldn't ask for a much more straightforward run out than this. Everything out in the middle of the table. Mackinnon probably wouldn't have imagined that he would make as many mistakes as he has and be this close to Shaw at this stage.
Fair point, Michael. Oh, that was a kick. That was a bad contact for sure.
Absolutely massively bad contact, wasn't it? You can take nothing for granted in this match. It's throwing up all sorts of mini surprises.
Reset to 40.
So we had written off this rack much too soon. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz is going to be the first man through to the one table stage. And I think the enormity of that is just causing him to take a little longer over this shot. He will play it eventually. And with that 11-4 win over Ko Ping Yi, he books his place in the one table stage.
Yeah, very well done. Mackinnon secures the 9 to go that one rack in front, 5-4.
Yeah, looked for all the world like he was going behind again. But the bad contact on the 6 robbed Shaw. And Mackinnon took full advantage. Well, he's almost halfway to victory now, 5-4 in front. He's got to be starting to believe this is a realistic possibility. But that, of course, is the big challenge, isn't it, Jim, when you're closing in on a real landmark victory? Can you see it through?
Yeah, that's when you got to hold your nerve.
Several players on the hill. Su Kai Lun is 10-3 up against Wu Jiaxing on the winner's side. And over on the loser's side, Tyler Steyer and Mieszko Fortunski, both on the hill in their matches. Fortunski's playing Ralph Suke, so he's perhaps a rack away from going out.
Quick check of the rack. Everybody's happy, and referee Nigel Reese passes the cue ball to Mackinnon.
Well, that's the first break in the whole match that we haven't seen a ball potted, albeit that a couple of racks ago, Shaw potted the 2 off the break and scratched at the same time.
Yeah, this match has just got that feel that it's not going to be straightforward no matter what. Whether you're going to get a kick here or there, or a glaring miss, and the odd dry break will pop up.
It's been fascinating viewing though, hasn't it, Jim? I mean, you wouldn't say either player's got fully into their stride, but it's been all the more interesting to watch for that very reason. Su Kai-lun is the second man through to the single elimination stage. 11-3 he's seen off Wu Jiaxing.
Yeah, you get a real look at how long Jason's cue is, and the backhand, how much cue is still out there.
So what's the idea behind that, Jim?
Got to be honest, I'm not sure. I know Earl Strickland's cue is also very long. And Jason's got an extension that he's got into the butt of that cue. I don't know whether he just likes to have that weight in the back end. I know he's raving about it.
The Kaiser is out of the US Open. Ralph Souquet beaten 11-5 by Mieszko Fortunski.
Half chase. Yep.
Well, referee Nigel Reese called into the fray yet again to try and get the AccuRack out of there without disturbing the balls too much.
Just while he's doing that, I can tell you Joshua Filler is hanging on against Alban Ocean. He's just won the 15th rack to close to 9-6 down now. Tyler Steyer has seen off Roman Heibler 11-3. So he's into the losers qualification round. And he'll play the loser of that Ko Ping Chung Alex Pagulayan match. So Mackinnon came up dry from the break. Paid a heavy price for it. Jason Shaw draws level once again. Nip and tuck, 5-all.
Yeah, that'll put Jason in good stead, though. The Lion 9-7. This would be a big win. He hasn't had the easiest passage through to the elimination rounds. Had to beat Chin Chun Yang last night. Great player.
Just to give you an idea of the money, by the way, if you get through to the single elimination stage tomorrow, you're guaranteed at least $3,500, and it goes up quickly from there. $6,250 for the quarterfinalists. It becomes $12,000 for the semis, then $25,000 for the runner-up, and $50,000 for the eventual winner of the US Open on Friday.
Just taking a little time as Alex just wants to be certain. Chance to get to the hill.
Marco Teutschers on the hill, 10-6 he leads Hu Dang Yin.
And another good break from Jason Shaw. Cracks into that diamond cluster. And beautifully positioned on the one with the 2 right there.
He's only run out from the break once so far. As I said, he's trying to join an elite group of players who have successfully defended this title. It took a while for the first. 1976 the event began. It wasn't until 1990 that Nick Varner became the first player to go back-to-back. And we saw 2 European players do it consecutively, Mika Immonen in 2008 and 9, and then in the 2 years following that, Darren Appleton. And then off the back of that, Shane van Boening successfully defended twice, because after winning it for the second time in 2012, 5 years after his first, he retained it in 13 and won again in 14.
Well, that was a weak effort from Jason Shaw there. Totally misjudged the angle the cue ball was supposed to take. Carrying into the 8 ball and in no position on the 5.
Oh, great recovery.
Who said he needed it?
Doesn't get phased when things go wrong, which is just as well in this match because it's gone wrong a few times.
Yeah, that would have been a tough one to have to swallow, though, not winning the rack with everything in the open. And position was actually quite easy for a mistake like that from Shaw.
So Mäkinen broke dry in the previous rack. He's been sitting down since. It's turning into by far Shaw's toughest match of the championship so far, but he does lead it, and he's more than halfway to victory now. He leads by 6 racks to 5. Alban Ocean now leading 9-7 against Joshua Filler. So that one's still got some way to run. And James Aranis, who we saw with that dramatic win earlier, he's back on the table now on the loser's side against his fellow Philippines player, Jeffrey Ignacio. And Aranis is leading 2-0.
Yeah, I talk about the distractions here in Las Vegas for all these players. And you had a chance to enjoy some of that sun, Michael?
I had a walk about 6:30, 7 o'clock yesterday morning. It was just absolutely fantastic. Just perfect temperature. Great to see it. I've not actually been out after dark yet, though. So I look forward to doing that at some point.
Yeah, the desert cools down a bit after dark. I'll warn you now.
Well, one of my plans was to go and play golf on Saturday when the event's over, but you're telling me now there are rattlesnakes on the course, so I'm having second thoughts about that.
Welcome to Vegas.
Well, you used to live here, of course, Jim, didn't you? It's my first time here. Somewhere I've always really wanted to see, so delighted to have the opportunity at this US Open.
Alex on the hill, as we saw, just eyeing up a tricky little shot. And Jason Shaw eyeing up the break. These players have gone back and forth with the racks.
Yeah, no one's been more than one in front at any stage. Lucius Yap, 9-8 up now against Niels Fyen.
Well, Jason's going to have to play this with a lot of spin. Left-hand spin as he looks. Go between the 2 colors in the middle of the table, the 7 and the 9. Well, he intended to go between them, I'm sure.
But that wasn't a friendly flick on the 6.
No, he just didn't go, wanted to go a little deeper with that angle on the 4. That would have dropped him onto the 5 nicely, and that, again, slightly misjudged. Very thin cut if he wants to try and slice this in.
And the cue ball will be running all over the place. So hope for Mackinnon in this rack.
Just not quite on song, Jason Shaw.
No, absolutely not. And I wonder, was it all a little too easy for him against Corey Jewell last night? He just dominated that match, and right from the start today he's been under a lot more pressure, and he's had to adjust to a very different sort of match. Oh, but some of these recovery shots he's pulling out are magnificent. And has the 6 travelled far enough? I think it just has. It's tight though.
Worth another look. Great effort and fully deserving of position to the 6. Rolling this in though. Important to stay still.
Victory for Marco Teutsch, 11-6 over Hu Dang-yin. So he's 1 win away from the single elimination stage. And in the losers qualification round, Teutsch will play the loser of the match that's going on table 19 at the moment, in which